Okay, now WrestleMania. These are who I think WWE will choose in this whole thing. I already done did a video who I think I should win, and even I'm not even gonna lie. Some of them I was like, you know what, I could have went with a different route there. But hey, that's in the past. We're going to the future, and the future here is we're just gonna start it up and just go ahead and I'm just gonna get the ones out the way. Night one, let's see, Raw. I was like WWE Tag Team War Raiders versus New Day. You got to give it to the New Day. They're going to win it just because War Raiders haven't done nothing, to be honest, this whole time. While I think that they have missed the ball on the New Day when they were at their pinnacle of being the most heated team, I still think at this moment they still are getting booed. I was like, and plus, like I said, the War Raiders ain't been doing anything. Now, what that means for the tag division, once we start getting in there, that's a little different because there ain't nothing but outside the War Raiders. Everybody is a heel team. I guess you could say LWO is them, but hell, I don't know. Would that be Ray, Dragon Lee, or because they don't use the other tag team. So, but New Day gonna get it. We'll see how it goes. That's really the only route. Cause at least if they get it, you know that if they're on TV, they'll do some segments at least with it. Speaking of segue tangent, look at that. Look how I ride that to the next one. El Grande Americano versus Rey Mysterio. Now, I do think that this one was a little bit difficult to figure out just because I was like, I feel like they could go different ways with this, but I was like, to me, it's got to be I was like Grande Americano just because I was like, it depends on how long they really want to do it. I don't think that like about a month or so that we've been doing this that we would just kill it off right here and there. Like, yes, I get that you want that this can't go for too long, and not like you can keep just going up to SummerSlam or nothing like that. But I do think that you could probably get another pay-per-view out of it or whatever. We know the whole big reveal at some point is going to be like, oh snap, look, it's I was like, it's Chad Gable or whatever. But right now, that thing is Omos. And but to be honest, I can see them doing something where it's almost the Ezekiel Elias thing, where it's like, obviously, you're gonna know who it is, but we can play it off. Because I know, I seen pictures where they're just like, look at the tattoo, it got to be the same person. And I'm like, man, what you could do where you could put on tattoos on people now for how they do with movies and stuff, it wouldn't surprise me they got someone really close to that point of looking like Chad Gable. Only I would like fading hair and all that other stuff, but I was like, that's what I would like. I would actually like it if Chad Gable does happen to come down to the ring during the match and it's kind of like, wait, what? Or, you know, the match gets off and it's like, who in the hell is that? And then later on we find out that basically it's like, no, it's been Chad Gable the whole time. What would be cool though is like this whole time that Triple H had basically had this wrestler underneath wraps this whole time, and we basically got a new wrestler, but it just, I was like, and it's him, but we thought it was Chad Gable, but it's been like some new guy that basically doesn't have the same following of like getting signed or something like that. Like maybe it could be like one of my D projects, I don't know, something like that. Anyway, Americana gonna get it. I was like, I believe. I don't see Ray winning and then all of a sudden trying to unmask him. That seems like it's too much all in one go. All right, so Jade and Naomi is the next route I'm gonna go. I was like, who I said I would want to win is Naomi, but I was like, I feel like Jade might get the match here. I was like, this one, I will say, I think a lot of these are a lot more trickier than normal, just because it's like I said, like Jade, I think Jade is gonna win because I think they still want the spectacle that she is or whatever. Naomi's a bad guy. She doesn't necessarily need to win in order to keep the thing going. She could keep on being an irritant to Jade. But to give Jade a win after she's been gone for quite a while, they did the whole tag team thing and just keep her propelling her to like this singles career. I think you just go ahead and start off with the WrestleMania. I was like, with the WrestleMania wins on the big show. She hadn't been able to, I was like, she hadn't really had her. She had the tag team title for a while, and then she was gone for several months. That I was like, now granted, I was like Naomi winning and getting her a chance like how I want. I was like, if she's gonna be a bad guy for a while, I was like, I could see that they give Jade a big win at WrestleMania, And then Naomi could win up here and there, maybe a Money in the Bank thing. We'll see how that goes later on. But I was like, there could be more stuff in the future. Because I was like, I think Jade, I think both of them, but I think Naomi could do more with, like something like the Money in the Bank than Jade could just be put in like a #1 contender match or whatever like that. Plus, we don't know how some of the other stuff might play out with the women's division. But now we're going to go to LA Knight and Jacob Fatu. I think LA Knight gets this one. I think they're going to give him his big win. I think they're going to get. I was like, let him have it at WrestleMania. Don't get me wrong. I think the crowd will go crazy. Jacob Fatu win the championship, and this is all sort of weird based on like what you think going to happen with Solo. I was like, I think they're going to try to find a way to basically keep. Man, this is. I don't think Fatu needs a championship in a way that I think LA Knight does. I think LA Knight keeps the championship because it gives him something more to do. Because I don't feel like if he had a route, if he don't have the title, there's not much that they would do creatively with him. In a way, with Jacob Fatu, they're going to find something to throw him into. So I'm going to give it to LA Knight or whatever like that. I'm not going to say, I don't think it's going, I don't know if it's going to be a win. I was like, in that type of way, but I can also see like if Jacob like loses, but he pops right back. Like they've been trying to keep him from like really losing, keeping him clean. So he has to lose in a way that makes it fine. Otherwise, he wins and it's like, all right, cool. He's gonna go on lose streak until somebody beats him. I don't know. Maybe it's, but you can't do a count out at WrestleMania. That'd be lame. Maybe DQ, maybe something like that. That'd be a little bit justifiable in that type of match. Jay Uso versus Gunther. Jay's gonna win. You can't have him violate the hell out of his brother and think that he's not gonna win. He's over with the crowd, so guess what? He's gonna be hella over once he wins that championship. To me, I was like, while I would like the storyline of them doing like a Cody 2.0 of like him losing and redeeming himself later on or whatever, put on a match, I do think that they're gonna try to put on like a bigger match or whatever like that. I see somebody graphic that was like chops versus super kicks, which the point I sort of been making when people were dogging the hell out of Jade. I was like, don't get me wrong, I do think Gunther's a better wrestler than Jay or whatever, but I was like, the reason y'all fell in love with Gunther, like, yes, I was like, I'm not saying the stuff, taking away that stuff he can't do, but I was like, his hella chops is the thing that really sells him over or whatever. I was like, we just still got the chops. It's like, ooh, look at that. Whereas like super kicks, like, oh, lame. And it's like, okay, all right, whatever. But anyway, I was like, Jay's going to win this and be over as hell with the championship and stuff like that. I think that was pretty easy. Now, Tiffany versus Charlotte, I do think that this is another one where it's like, I don't think this was in the bag of who's going to win. I was like, I went for Charlotte Flair. I can see them giving it to Tiffany, but I'm just like, what happens after that? Do you revisit this again? I don't know if you want to necessarily do that. If her whole thing is like overcoming veterans, who's the next veteran that she would face? Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, she's already sort of. Whereas to me with Charlotte, I feel like the possibilities are endless, but it's like I think they'll. Also, you brought back Charlotte to win the Royal Rumble for her to go to WrestleMania, especially after all this whole thing. That's like, now she does all this and she loses at WrestleMania, and I'm like, yeah, I'm just like, I don't think they're gonna. I think Tiffany's gonna get the win. Wouldn't surprise me if Charlotte gets the win here. You know what? I'm gonna say I think Charlotte's gonna get the victory, just because I'm like, I don't know who Tiffany faces after this, whereas like Charlotte has a plethora of people that she could face. And last but not least, we're getting the triple threat of Punk, Roman, and Rollins. Now, I already said who should win, but here, look, I don't think Roman's winning. Roman is not winning this at all. So that one's easy to figure out. So it's basically between Seth and CM Punk. We don't know what this favor that really could be for Rollins still is, or whatever. We won't know if it's going to get something that's on SmackDown. We don't know if it's something that's going to be the day of or whatever. It ain't even going to be that seismic. Now, I was like, on one hand, I was like, Seth should. I think story-wise, Seth should get the win. I think CM Punk is going to get the win. And I think whatever the favorite that Rollins might pull out, it's something that's going to that could benefit all of them, which I was like, that's just sort of, to me, goes back in the CM Punk thing or whatever. It still gives Seth ammunition that he could say, maybe, you know, say it's like for a number one contendership or something like that. CM Punk is able to use that. He's able to use Paul Heyman. I was like, he used Paul Heyman that's in his corner for that situation, which builds more than what Seth's saying. I don't know. But I think CM Punk pulled out the victory just because you give him the main event match, and then guess what? You're going to give him the victory as well too, all wrapping up in one huge bow. You never know with Punk if you might have this time again because you didn't have it last year. So go ahead and knock this out. Next year you could easily just be like, all right, now it might be for the title if he doesn't already have the title. It just sort of just takes out the worry that you could have. I was like, now, if there's some type of twist where it's like, maybe it's not no one contendership and it's Paul Heyman, like, now he's going to be in another corner and say, like, he got to be in Seth's, I'll say Seth wins in that situation. But that's the part where it's hard to see. But anyway, who do you think is going to come out of night one? Well, night one, like your tribal chief, that's not winning, but still put on a good match. Let me know what y'all think about that. And we're going to get, man, this is going to be an exciting weekend. Double WrestleMania, NBA playoff. That's a different stuff. But you get what I'm saying. Anyway, till then, peace. Well, night one, I'm out.